Admiral Zethkar had devoted 3 decades to studying humans. His databanks contained every military engagement, every tactical manual, every strategic doctrine humanity had ever produced. The Corvani Strategic Institute had declared him the foremost expert on human warfare in the galaxy. Yet as he watched his 4th consecutive fleet burn in the void of space, he wondered where he had gone wrong again. "Admiral, the human vessels they're doing it again," reported his tactical officer, mandibles clicking nervously. Zethkar's 3 eyes focused on the holographic display. The human fleet, outnumbered 3-1, had inexplicably split into 7 separate groups, each heading in seemingly random directions. According to every military doctrine in the galaxy, including humanity's own written strategies, this should have been suicide. "They're violating the Kashari principle of concentrated force," Zethkar muttered, his scaled hands dancing over the command console. "Brennan's 3rd law of naval engagement. Even their own Sun Tzu explicitly states." The first human group had somehow appeared behind his supply lines. The second was flanking his left wing at impossible speed. The third seemed to be attacking his command ship directly, while broadcasting what appeared to be human music at maximum volume. "Sir, they're hailing us," his communications officer announced. "Audio only." "Put it through." A distinctly human voice crackled across the bridge. "Hey there, Admiral. Love the formation you've got going. Very by the book. Super predictable. Anyway, you might want to check your engine room." Zethkar's blood ran cold. "Security to engine room, immediately!" But he already knew it was too late. The humans had somehow infiltrated his flagship, while his attention was focused on their fleet movements. The lights flickered as primary power failed. "Admiral," his first officer spoke quietly, "how do they keep doing this? We have studied every aspect of their military doctrine. We know their history, their tactics, That's exactly the problem," Zethkar realized, his voice barely a whisper. "We study their books, their documented strategies, their formal military doctrine. But humans, they don't fight according to their own rules." The tactical display showed the remainder of the human fleet converging on his position with impossible coordination. No communication signals, no tactical data streams. They were operating on pure instinct and improvisation. Dr. Killa, the fleet's xenopsychologist, stepped forward. She had been observing silently from her station, her tentacles curled in what Zethkar had learned to recognize as deep contemplation. "Admiral, I've been monitoring human communications during their battles. They don't follow their strategic doctrines because those doctrines are, how do they put it, for when everything goes according to plan, and they assume nothing will go according to plan." Zethkar turned to stare at her. "That's chaos, pure chaos. How can any military force operate effectively under that assumption?" Dr. Kyla's research had taken her deep into human psychology, far beyond what any other species had attempted. "Because they don't see chaos as the enemy of order, Admiral. They see it as a tool. Every human military unit trains extensively in what they call adaptation under pressure. They practice fighting when their communications fail, when their supply lines are cut, when their commanders are killed, when their weapons malfunction, when their plans are completely compromised." The human fleet was now surrounding them in a formation that existed in no tactical manual anywhere in the galaxy. A fluid, organic arrangement that seemed to shift and flow like a living thing. "They have a saying, Admiral, no plan survives contact with the enemy. But where we see this as a failure of planning, they see it as the beginning of the real battle." Another human voice came across the communications. "Admiral Zethkar, this is Commander Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Force. We've disabled your engines and weapons, but your life support is intact. We're prepared to accept your surrender." Zethkar slumped in his command chair. "Commander Chen, I have studied your species for 30 years. I have read every human strategic text, analyzed every historical battle, understood every tactical principle you've ever written down. How do you keep defeating forces that should be able to predict your every move?" There was a pause, and when Chen replied, Zethkar could hear something that chilled him more than any weapon. She was laughing. "Admiral, you studied what we wrote about war, but you never studied how we actually fight. See, we write those books after the wars are over, trying to make sense of what happened. But during the war, we're just making it up as we go along." Dr. Killa spoke up from her station. "Admiral, I believe humans possess what we might call institutionalized improvisation. They've weaponized unpredictability itself. Commander Chen, Zethkar said into the communicator, your forces just executed 17 maneuvers that violate basic tactical principles. You split your forces, attacked from multiple impossible angles, somehow infiltrated my flagship, and coordinated complex movements without detectable communication. How? Well, Chen's voice carried a note of amusement. My grandmother always said that rules are just suggestions with attitude. Plus, Jenkins bet Morrison 20 credits that he couldn't take out your engine room with just a maintenance crew and a really good distraction. Turned out he was right. The distraction worked perfectly. Zethkar realized that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their ferocity, it was their fundamental inability to accept that anything was impossible. They approached each battle as if the laws of warfare were merely polite suggestions, and their enemies' superior strategies were just interesting puzzles to solve through creativity and stubbornness. I surrender, Zethkar announced, his voice heavy with the weight of yet another inexplicable defeat. But Commander Chen, could you tell me, do you actually have any formal military strategy at all? Oh, sure, Chen replied cheerfully. Step 1, show up. Step 2, figure out what's going wrong. Step 3, make something up. Step 4, try not to die while doing it. Works every time. As the human ships moved to secure his fleet, Zethkar made a final note in his research files. Recommendation for all future engagement with human forces. Don't. Some species, he reflected, simply couldn't be studied into defeat. Some species fought like the universe itself was just another problem to be solved with sufficient creativity and complete disregard for the impossible. Humans, it seemed, were one of those species.